In this video, we're going to talk about how to get a VA loan if you're soon to be discharged from military. And it's really important in securing your home path going forward. Thank you for your service. I tell you, it's the ultimate sacrifice. Going to a retirement ceremony recently to see the speech that the commanding officer gives about the sacrifice that a spouse has, to not realize how important it is that the spouse has to take care of the children and everything, while the other spouse who serves in the military goes out to sea for 6, 8, 12 months at a time. That's pretty difficult. So you definitely are deserving of this loan that we're getting ready to talk about. So you've done your time, you've served in the military, and you're getting ready to get out. And this is the key and why you're watching this video. So you have 12 months or less remaining on your orders and you're totally getting out. This is probably one of the most difficult times for you to qualify for a mortgage, okay? If you can qualify for a mortgage with 12 plus months, then totally fine. Everything's gonna be easy for you. We're gonna just use the income off of your LES, your leave and earning statement. However, if you're getting out and it's less than 12 months, well, VA is gonna kind of put up that bing barrier that says, hey, you know what? We're gonna make it a little more challenging because we don't know what your actual income is gonna be. If you know you're getting ready to go through this process of getting out of the military, it's really important to start looking. You can qualify with a loan officer up front to kind of get your credit looked at, and that's really important to know what's on your credit. If you don't have a credit monitoring app, and even if you do, right, if you have questions like if you start feeling the pinch, and what I mean by the pinch is like if you're used to making this much money consistently every single month, and you're used to either putting a couple $100s away every single month or putting no money away every single month, if you start seeing your accounts dwindling, then that's the pinch, right? We all know what it is. Like I recently noticed what my grocery bills are doing, and I was like, wow, the price of this product is way more expensive than I've ever paid before. And like yesterday was the perfect example. I'm not a big soda drinker, and my kids really wanted a 2-liter of Coca-Cola. And when I went to the grocery store, I was in total shock because I'm so used to a 99-cent 2-liter Coca-Cola from when I was a child. That's how much Coca-Cola was. And when I went into the grocery store, it's $3. I was taken back. I was like, $3? That's what a 12-pack used to cost. Sorry to kind of get off topic. However, with that being said, yes, you need to start looking for that job, okay? You gotta know what your next career path is, whether it be the job, whether it be disability income, whether it be going back to school. You know, we have to know what the actual income is before we can qualify you. So let's start with the job, okay? The job offer letter, if you get that, that's perfect. And depending on when you start and when you get out, we may or may not be able to use that job offer letter. That's the first step to securing that loan. If you know you're going back into the workforce as a civilian, to go ahead and start applying and getting the job started. Number 2 is, if you're relying on disability or retirement income, is to know what that income is, okay? And to know that, hey, if we're gonna qualify on this income, it actually has to start taking place before we can close. So if you know that you're discharging, let's say in November 1st, however, your pay is not gonna start and you're not gonna know what your pay is gonna be until, let's say, November 30th, then we probably don't wanna set up that closing for November 1st. We may wanna set it up for December 5th, just to make sure that VA has the proper time to process that income and we know what the income is prior to closing. And let's just say you're going back to school, and this is probably one of the biggest questions that we always get is, hey, I've gotten out of the military, I'm going back to school, and I'm gonna use my post 9/11 GI Bill. Well, if you're gonna use that income for schooling, just know we cannot use that income to qualify. We can only use income like that to qualify if there's guaranteed is the key word, 3 years that you're gonna be getting that income. And I've never been able to use that income, but now that I'm talking about this, I'm definitely gonna look into it a little further to see if there's a way to use this. You also need to know your eligibility. Your eligibility is the Certificate of Eligibility, okay, that we get from the VA. And typically, in order for us to secure that, we would have to go through the VA, and hopefully you're one of the lucky ones that, hey, you're gonna get an automated return saying, here's your certificate of eligibility, you're fully qualified. However, there are some times that you're not gonna be able to get a full automated approval right away on your certificate of eligibility, and you may need your point statement. And especially if you're in the reserves, it could be kind of hard to get your point statement. You may only, go do drills once a month, and you may not be able to find your commanding officer, or they may not have records of it. So that's where you have to reach out to the VA. You got to know where to get your point statement so that we can submit the proper documentation to get your certificate of eligibility for you. What we're looking at when we're qualifying you for these types of loans is we're looking at income, assets, and liabilities, right? So minimize debt. If you have the ability to minimize your debt, that would definitely help, because now you're going from a guaranteed base income, non-taxable BAH and BAS, to going into civilian world and having this, flat salary that's fully taxed, right? So you've never budgeted for something like this ever in your life. And that's why it's really important to know all of your incomes kind of going into this. So we have the income part set, and then now it's just your liabilities. And that's why I'm telling you, reduce your debts, because that's going to help you qualify for a little more once we determine what the actual income is. Some of the biggest ways to kind of help you with this is to do a power payment plan. Power payment plan is when we go through your entire credit report and we're looking at all the debts that you have. The best way to really attack the debts is, let's just say you have a car payment of $500 with a $10,000 balance on it, and then you have a personal loan of $300 monthly payment with a $2,000 balance, and then you have two credit cards at $100 a monthly payment, both of them. One has a $1,000 balance and one has a $500 balance. What the power payment plan is to help you budget, because once again, like I said, you're now working with different income. The power payment plan would be to go through and pay the smallest bills completely off first, okay? If you're used to making extra payments on your vehicle loan or personal loan, I would start applying it towards the smallest loans with the highest interest, and to knock them completely out first. So I would pay the $500 credit card completely off. Now you've saved $100 a month, and you can add that extra $100 into the $1,000 credit card. So now you're able to pay that off in 5 months. And now you've saved $200 a month, and you can take that $200 and pay $500 towards the personal loan of $300. Now you're making $500 payments on that loan, and that's gonna knock that loan out in 4 months. And now you save $500, so you can actually double down on that car payment if you choose, or you can take that $500 savings and go into your home ownership journey. So make sure that you have your debt to income ratio and your credit score secure on this, and understand that something such as this power payment plan is definitely going to help you when it goes into a new type of income and a new type of housing expense that you're picking up, because there's no walking away from this house, because it is your mortgage now, right? It's not a rental where you're like, hey, I only have a 1-year obligation or a month-to-month obligation on something like this. Make sure you're keeping track of all of your documents. So all of your discharge documents, your DD-214s, there's different member copies. When we're going through the mortgage process, we need the member 4 copy. So make sure you're holding on to all of that documentation, because I've worked with a lot of veterans in the past, and with these veterans, when they don't have the proper DD-214 and they have to go contact the archives office or just call around to get their records, it's costly, it's time consuming, and the time is what kind of kills things, right? Especially if you're under contract and you don't have any of these documents, and now you're trying to do all of these things within 30 days and provide ample time for your loan officer to review it, the processor to review it, and for the underwriter to review and accept it. That is a very tall task and makes the loan process extremely, extremely frustrating. So make sure you have all of your necessary paperwork and documentation when you're going through this process. Some of the common pitfalls, I think, when you're getting out of the service and having less than 12 months is definitely that income part of things. Okay, knowing what the income is, making sure that you're still secure with that job. So staying in touch with your future employer is really important, okay? Especially if you're going into the government contracting sector. With those, there's a budget and you're allowed to get hired at certain times. So it's really important to understand when you're going out into the civilian world and working, you're staying in touch with your employer. Something that I would not recommend that happened recently is, I had someone discharging from the military and they went straight into the commission field, okay? With commission income, we have to have 2 years. Any type of variable income, any type of bonus, maybe a travel nurse income, things like that have a lot of variable pays. And a lot of times, as a loan company, we're gonna throw all those variable pays out the window and only use your base pay. And you may be, sticker shocked by something like that. So with that being said, if you have less than 12 months, you may have been denied. You may have been talking to other people and they're saying, hey, it's not gonna happen. There are options, okay? Maybe your spouse could go back to work and have that income. And VA's got very lenient guidelines when it comes to something like this. I even recently had a family getting out of the military, and they moved across the country because that's where their spouse's family was. And while they were in the service, so my friend had like 1.2 years left, he was able to buy the house and basically qualify for that house across the country because he knew that they really wanted to be in this part of the country. And he was going to stay in California while his wife moved back to the East Coast to be with family. And when he got out, he immediately had a home to kind of step right into. So if you found this content helpful, please be sure to tune into the channel by subscribing to the channel so you can find out more tips and tricks on mortgage financing and how we can help you out. And my name is David �11. I'm with the 𝐬𝐲 Mortgage Team, and I would love to help you out. My phone number is 757-478-8493, and please give me a ring.